You've survived the brutal front lines of Gaul. For months you've marched through freezing rain and endless forests. You've fought enemies who vanish into the trees and strike without warning. You've watched friends fall beside you in the mud. But tonight, you're not running from the enemy. You're running from Rome. Somewhere behind you, inside the fortified Roman camp you slipped away from, the guards will soon realize a soldier is missing. And when they do, the hunt will begin. Because in the Roman army, desertion was not simply cowardice, it was betrayal. Life inside the Roman legions was relentless. A Roman legionary marched enormous distances carrying nearly everything he needed to survive. His pack could weigh over 30 kilograms. Armor, weapons, tools, cooking gear, rations, and the wooden stakes used to build defensive walls. Ancient writers even joked that Roman soldiers marched like pack animals. At the end of every exhausting march, the soldiers didn't simply rest. They built a fortress every single night. Roman armies constructed fortified marching camps known as castra. Soldiers dug a defensive ditch, piled the earth into a rampart, and drove sharpened wooden stakes into the top to form a defensive wall. Gates were placed at fixed points and guarded by sentries. Only when the entire camp was complete could the soldiers sleep. This routine happened every night, in rain, in snow, after long marches and brutal battles. Roman commanders believed discipline was the foundation of their army's strength. And discipline inside the legions was absolute. Disobedience could mean flogging. Serious offenses could lead to execution. But one crime terrified soldiers more than most others: desertion. Because abandoning the legion threatened the stability of the entire army. If one soldier ran, others might follow. And if fear spread through the ranks, an entire legion could collapse. Roman commanders had seen armies destroyed by panic before. They believed strict discipline was the only way to prevent it, which is why the consequences for desertion were severe. Now imagine the moment it happens. It is the deepest part of the night. The fires in the Roman camp have burned low. Thousands of soldiers sleep inside the walls they built earlier that evening. But one man is awake. Perhaps exhaustion has finally broken him. Perhaps fear of the next battle has become unbearable. Or perhaps he simply believes that if he stays with the legion, he will never see home again. Slowly, he rises. He moves between rows of leather tents, careful not to wake the soldiers around him. In the distance, a guard walks along the rampart, silhouetted against the night sky. Ahead of him stand the sharpened stakes of the defensive wall. Beyond them lies darkness, freedom, or death. He waits. A guard turns his back, and the soldier moves. He slips through the shadows, squeezes past the outer defenses, and disappears into the wilderness beyond the Roman camp. For a few hours, he may believe he has escaped, but by morning, his disappearance will be discovered. And when a Roman soldier deserted, the army did not simply forget him. The centurions responsible for maintaining discipline would immediately investigate. Soldiers sharing his tent would be questioned. Patrols might be sent out along nearby roads or villages to search for him. The Roman army also relied heavily on scouts known as Speculatores. These men served as observers, messengers, and reconnaissance troops. They were skilled riders who traveled ahead of the army to watch enemy movements and gather information. If commanders needed someone to track a fleeing soldier or investigate suspicious activity, scouts like these could be used. But even if no formal search party was sent, escaping the Roman army was extremely difficult. A Roman legionary stood out. His short military haircut, hardened physique, and distinctive equipment made him difficult to disguise. In enemy territory, he risked capture by hostile tribes. In Roman territory, he risked being reported by civilians who feared imperial authority. And even if he avoided both dangers, another enemy quickly appeared: hunger. Roman armies often campaigned in remote or hostile lands where food was scarce. A lone soldier wandering without supplies might not survive long in the wilderness. Many deserters likely died alone, far from any Roman camp. But if a deserter was captured, the consequences could be brutal. Roman military discipline relied heavily on public punishment. The goal was not only to punish the offender, it was to reinforce order throughout the entire army. One punishment, described by ancient writers such as Polybius, was called fustuarium. This punishment was used for serious offenses, including desertion, theft, or abandoning a post during battle. If a soldier was condemned, he could be beaten to death by fellow soldiers using clubs or stones. The most disturbing part of the punishment was not only its violence, it was who carried it out. The condemned man's own comrades were forced to participate. Every soldier watching understood the message. The legion itself would destroy anyone who betrayed it. Roman commanders believed punishments like these prevented larger disasters. Armies operating deep in hostile territory could not afford panic or disorder. Strict discipline helped keep soldiers in formation even during terrifying battles. It helped legions recover from devastating defeats, and it helped transform Rome's military into one of the most disciplined fighting forces of the ancient world. When we imagine the power of the Roman Empire, its armies marching across continents and conquering vast territories, we often picture its victories. But behind that power was something far darker. Rome did not rely on courage alone. It relied on discipline, and discipline was enforced through fear. Because every soldier inside a Roman camp knew the same truth: fighting the enemy was dangerous. But abandoning the legion could be even worse. And somewhere beyond the walls of a Roman camp, deep in the wilderness, under a moonless sky, a lone soldier might still be running, knowing that if Rome catches him, his own brothers in arms may be the ones who end his life.